Alright guys, this is the part where everybody hates, and that is the scooping of the inside. And I'm going to show you. I haven't done it yet. This is the sketch that we did, and I am just going to figure out where I am going to be making the holes in order to get rid of a lot of the inside. So I'm probably going to make a hole here, and then one here, and then one here, and maybe one in the head, and kind of just scoop in. And then I'll take some time to really carefully seal it all up and do any of the potential details. So the way I would do it is like I'll pick a flat spot on the body, and I would start getting the clay out. And it's really not as intense as people might think it is. Yeah, you're kind of like ruining it a bit, but this is how you're going to get a successful firing of your work. And it helps to have some bigger tools, so I'm going to search for something better. This one's actually a little bit better, not much. So my goal when I'm scooping from this top part is, if you could visualize it, I'm actually going to scoop all the way until I hit the base. That way I already know that there's like one solid piece in there that's going to be connected to the base. And slowly I'm just going to get all of this stuff out from this hole. And you see, I'm not like changing a lot of the sculpture. I am just putting that one hole on the top. So it's not going to require a lot of fixing once I do that. And you can do this slowly. I think a lot of people, you could probably watch your favorite show when you're doing this. You just have to be careful not to go too wide onto the other side, because you don't want to come through and kind of, I've done this in the past as well, like carelessly. I've scooped to the front and then my thing came out in the front. So you have to be careful, but this is not difficult. And the clay is nice and wet and soft. This is why you want to do it now. And then add a little bit more details as you are finishing up. And if you put your tool like this and you rotate it like this, you'll dig in quite a bit. I'm already at the base. Now I'm going to slowly bring it up, and now I know that there's a part already connected all the way to the base. Let me look for a better tool. You need like something pretty big, at least to be successful with this, to remove as much as possible. You see with this tool, I just grabbed like a whole chunk. Look at that. And look at the clay that I'm removing, by the way. That's just one hole and one lump of clay. Even if you don't get a lot of the clay going to the base, remember, when this dries a bit, you'll turn it over, dig from the bottom, and quickly get to the top. That's why this sort of method has a lot of flexibility. This clay is very soft, so it's very easy to do this. Now I'm looking at this because if I scoop more, I want to scoop, say, from this leg, but I want to connect it to this hole, because you don't want to like dig from here but not join it. Every hole that you dig has to be joined. keep that in mind when you're doing stuff. I'm already at the base here. This is excellent. I want to see if I can scoop a little bit towards the front of the leg. All right, so now we're going to make another hole. We're going to make it right here in the thigh, right here. Yeah, I'm going to have to redo a little bit, but because of the holes are so small, it's not that big of an issue. There are some people that slice things in the middle, like Philippe Farout. He's a French sculptor, and he's extremely good. And he uses wire armatures inside, and then he kind of completely scoops out the inside, but I do not like that. I prefer this method. But of course, if you use an armature, that's a requirement. You can't leave it inside when you fire it. All right, this leg, I'm at the base, but not in the hole. So you see my tool, I'm actually going to point it this way and connect it to the other hole, the one I dug from here. Think of tunnels that have to connect. Now, it's already on the other side. You actually feel the resistance as you are kind of coming through, and you can see it also from the top. Yep. And I'm hitting the base on here. Okay, so that's that. And now let's figure out where else we want to scoop. So I think if I scoop right here in the middle of the back, I can join this, and that's what I'll do. Take a little bit more. Don't take too much, then it's too difficult to join. Or to mix it harder. It's never impossible. Clay is infinitely workable. You just have to get it nice and wet. It's about to storm in the area. I mean, just look at all the clay you're removing. That's why water-based clay has got so much flexibility for the price, because you can keep reusing this. The stuff that you remove, it's just clay that you can use for your next projects. But like you saw me working, the clay, this model that I did was waste clay. And this is what I would consider waste clay. Because it's not perfect, you know, it's no longer super moist like you get out of the bag. And you have to knead it, that is, work it with your hands a little bit more. Potential holes or pockets the air could develop, but it's still workable. You just have to put in more work. Now I'm connecting this hole to this one. I'm going to take my tool from here, remove some clay here. Sometimes it just doesn't want to get out. Sometimes. There we go. You can feel the resistance giving in as you're puncturing through to the other tunnel. I think that's a way to refer to this as tunnels, clay tunnels, or air tunnels. You know, you don't see this. I haven't seen anybody do this sort of system online. Actually, one of the disappointments I've seen with sculpture classes that they you know, have you work on a clay sculpture, and then at the end it's like, oh, well, goodbye, that's the end of the class. There's no lessons on how to get a final product. But with this sort of terracotta, you just bake it. Any ceramics place will be able to do this. Just pay them. So what I'm trying to do here is dig into the thigh here as much as possible, because the thigh is very thick. And I'm going to dig a little bit into this section. The more clay you can remove, the better, because then you can reuse it, do other sculptures, and make a lighter. It'll be easier to fire. I think that's what I'm going to do just for this. I'm just going to leave it like that. Just get rid of some of the loose clay. I mean, look at all this clay I'm removing. And if I want it to be much more precise, I could keep doing this for a while. We don't have to dig even to the head. I think this is pretty good. I'm going to show you how to seal it up. And then we're just going to do some quick details. That way it won't show what we were up to here. All right, I think we're pretty much done here. So now this part might seem difficult to do, but now that we've dug all of this in, you're gonna take your tool, your serrated tool, get some water, and my water here, and I'm gonna start with the top hole. And I'm just going to do this. I'm just gonna level it a bit and spray plenty of water. It's going to be really, really moist. Now I'm going to take enough clay to seal it. And I'm just going to work it with my hands, make sure this is really consistent. No holes, no lumps. And now we're just going to seal the tunnel. I'm not pushing too much on it. You can use a tool, your finger, but I'm not pushing too much. And the goal is to get this to adhere to the clay around it. That's why we do this when it's still wet. And there we go. That's sealed. It's not perfect. If you push it down, it'll go in. That's why you have to be careful. It's like you're pushing in, but you're not doing a lot of pressure in there. So now let's get the leg here. I'm going to take my tool, my serrated tool, and that's going to create these little teeth marks, and I level it, or bevel it. I put an angle to it. That way, when you join it, and you should even do this. You can do this if you don't have a tool like I got with like little teeth. Just do this. Just get it really wet. Now take your clay that you removed. All of this clay is about the same consistency, so that's why it works really well. We're gonna make just a batch like this, put it on top, push it down. I like to use a tool. That way I push it in without making a lot of... And yeah, it doesn't look exactly perfect, but that's okay because we will fix this in a few minutes. So that's why I like to use that. But you can see it still adds to the sketch and it doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look like we've been doing stuff with it. For good measure, just put some water on where you dug the holes. Now let's get the final one. That's the small at the back. And I'm going to get my trusty tool here with the teeth. Just going to dig that. This one's a little bit bigger. So bigger is a little bit harder, but not too bad. I'm going to make sure that this is really wet. Get that really wet, score it a bit more, and now we're going to get our clay. This clay is a little bit on the harder side, so we're going to take a chunk like this, not a lot of clay. And the problem is you're going to have to match the thickness. What I found is that if I make it too thin, if you want a quick way of just getting this, so just get in your water and your cloth and just do this. This gets rid of the super lumpiness from the tunnels that you just dug in the figure. And once this kind of solidifies a bit, you're not going to be able to tell what just happened here. But you know, I've been using this system for a very long time, and it does work. And when you combine it with grog clay that has got low fire and grog, it works really well. I haven't had a lot of these sculptures break or explode while firing because of this sort of system, and it really helps. You know, this is a quick sketch for me. I need to push myself not to take things to a finish. That's something that I've been struggling with. You know, just leaving things a little bit unfinished kind of looks good, I think. But anyway, guys, that's how you build the little tunnels inside your figure. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.